With me this morning, I have the fire chief from the Sullivan Fire Department, Eric Lewis. And good morning, Chief. How are you?
Good morning, Sam. Doing well.
So, how's this month been going for the fire department?
Going good. Good as always. Call-wise, emergency-wise, it's been a little slower than normal.
Well, I would have thought with all the rain and stuff that we've had that at least the outside fires would have been down. But
Right. Yeah, we've definitely gotten some relief from the brush fires so far with all the rain. That's been a good thing for sure. But yeah, compared to, I think, the rest of 2025, this is probably our lowest call volume month that we've had. We're sitting at about, I think, 78 calls for the month, and generally, I think for all of 25, we've been well over 100 every month so far. So yeah, it's kind of been a welcome break, emergency-wise, to just not have that kind of call volume. Gives us time to work on some of the other stuff, the paperwork side inside.
Keeping the trucks maintained and things like that.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Constant attention. They keep these things looking good and ready to go. Operational readiness.
So I noticed that. What are you guys calling that extra area by Station 5? Is that a new parking lot or a new?
That is. That's a long-term goal. Is our on-site training facility.
Okay. Well, it's looking pretty good.
It's coming along. Yeah. We've been fortunate. We've been able to kind of accelerate some of the plans that we've had for that. Actually, like putting the gravel down and stuff really wasn't projected for like another couple of years, but we were able to speed that up a little bit. And the goal is to provide some quality training props and the ability to do training like right there on our campus. Historically, sometimes we've had to go out to like Station 3 to do training, and it kind of takes the crews out of service to be that far out of town. So to have that kind of facility right here in town, the guys can do all sorts of training and remain in service and still respond to calls.
To give you more room for the academy?
Definitely, yeah.
Which is coming up soon, isn't it?
It is June 9th, I think. Yeah, 9th. June 9th is our week for Junior Fire Academy, so we're all ramped up for that and ready to go. But the training facilities we're gonna have there. Again, long-term plan. This will take 3 to 5 years maybe to complete, but the different requirements for like Fire 1 and 2 for live burns, they have specific requirements. So our training facility will be built to meet those requirements. So not only will it help our people, the Sullivan Fire folks, but we can also open this up to more of a regional type training asset to where neighboring departments could come and use our facilities as well. So it's a good thing, work in progress, and slowly it's coming along. It's looking really good over there. They got a lot of the fill from some of the restaurants that came down, so that kind of sped things up a little bit. We weren't anticipating that. And then once we got the fill in place and had that level, then it was time to add the gravel. We're getting ready to add a hydrant, so we can put a hydrant where we want it there, so the guys can practice and train doing that sort of stuff too. But it's going to offer a lot of different opportunities for like firefighting, interior firefighting, structural firefighting, search and rescue. We'll have different auto extrication, just all sorts of types of training that we'll be able to conduct like right there at the house. And we won't have to take crews out of service for that. So pretty excited that that's coming along.
So you mentioned hydrants. Who actually owns the hydrants? Is that the city?
Yeah, City Water Department owns the hydrants.
But you guys, do you test them or?
We kind of partner with the water department because we have a vested interest in making sure the hydrants work as well. So we do kind of partner with the city and do flow testing. Like there's annual requirements to flow test a certain percentage of hydrants each year or whatnot. So and when we do flow testing, of course, it's also a good chance to just put eyes on them and check for maintenance issues and stuff like that. So it's a good program just to kind of have that knowledge and visibility. It helps us learn and remember where the hydrants are and also what kind of shape they're in, because depending on where they're at in a water system grid, that kind of determines what kind of water flow you're going to get out of that. So some hydrants may only flow like 1,000 gallons per minute, but other hydrants might flow 1,500 gallons per minute. So we can make note of that, and we have it in our maps so that we have that information available to us.
Whether to bring a tanker with you.
Right, yeah. Yeah, generally in town, hopefully we don't have to bring a tanker and set up a drop tank. Usually the hydrants are reliable enough. They flow enough water. We got good pressure and enough gallonage that it would, pretty much support any operation we were going to do in town.
I've never really paid much attention. Are there hydrants outside of the city limits, like in people when they build subdivisions and things like that? Or
for the most part, no. That's not real common, no. It's a pretty good expense to put
I
those
would
in.
imagine.
And yeah, I think the grid pretty much stays within the city limits.
All right. Well, we talked about the Junior Fire Academy. Are you still looking for people for like donations of water or sports drinks or something like that? Or
Yeah, we would always take generous donations for like especially the drinks to hydrate them, Gatorade and water and stuff like that. We did recently just get awarded a grant. We put in for grants all the time to try to just offset our cost, but we did recently find out we got awarded for, there's a grant that the National Volunteer Fire Council and Anheuser-Busch partner together, and they donate pallets of drinking water to smaller departments. And we just got awarded that grant. So sometime in the near future, we should be getting a pallet of drinking water from Anheuser-Busch. Now, whether that comes in time for Junior Academy, I'm not sure, but the intent kind of behind that is so that there's water available, like for brush fires.
Yeah.
It's we get a pallet of water and we can throw these in coolers on the trucks, and then that way we have always have water on a scene if we need to. So we just got awarded that grant, and that water should be coming any time now.
so, how does I know that to get hired, usually you have to have, what is it, firefighter 1 or
Firefighter 1 and 2.
1 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where can you get that? Can you get that training here in Sullivan, or do you have to go somewhere else?
At times, there are a few academies around the state that kind of run like a college, where you can pay to go to these academies, and it's like a full-time Monday through Friday course. Short of that, though, you just kind of have to keep your ear open and your eye open, because different departments will sponsor or host a class. We've done it before. A couple years ago, we hosted a Fire 1 and 2 class, but it's a long class. It's 6, 8, 10 months long, because we usually do it like a couple nights a week maybe, to accommodate volunteers' schedules. It'll be a couple nights a week in the evenings, so that folks that have day jobs could attend the class. So we do it in the evenings, usually a couple times a week. But that kind of drags it out and makes it take every bit of 10 months probably. It's a long road to get the Fire 1 and 2 certification.
Do you have to bring somebody in to do that course, or do we have people qualified here in town?
Yeah, within our staff and like our volunteers and our officers, we have folks that have the basic requirements are like Instructor 1. You have to have Fire Instructor 1 through the state, and there's like Lead Evaluator, and then there's now there's 1403 NFPA 1403 Live Fire Instructor, and we have folks here that have all those certifications, so we can put it on completely internally, but because it's such a long class, we still solicit like outside instructors too. Like when we had the class, we had, Chief Plank from Cuba came and taught, one section of the Fire 1 and 2 class. We had staff from Bourbon, St. Clair, neighboring departments. They'll come in. We'll bring their instructors in as well, just to kind of balance that workload and not exhaust our people entirely.
So if you're looking for a career in firefighting, you can find that somewhere fairly close, right?
You can. It may take a while, especially to find one close to where you're at. There's probably a Fire 1 and 2 class going on somewhere in the state all the time, but it just may be far away from you or something. But usually within the fire departments, we hear when different departments are hosting a class. So sometimes we'll have a heads up on that, on who's hosting it. Owensville just did one like last year. Like I said, we've done one a couple years ago. So it just kind of bounces around from time to time. We may do another one again. We'll see. We don't have that on the radar just yet for any time soon, but we could.
So I had a question I was going to ask.
Oh, no. In one and out the other.
Yeah, basically. Well, I was so interested in your answer.
The Fire 1 and 2.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. So what about like your junior firemen? Are they working toward that as they – thank you, Bob. As they're, when they become a junior fireman, what are the requirements for that? I mean, you come in cold and learn as you go, or what?
Yeah, pretty much, because I think for like the state certs, you have to be 18 to take the written test for state things. So as a junior, that's not even a possibility for you. But like for our junior academy, it pretty much molds and follows the same curriculum as the Fire 1 and 2 program. A lot of the same stuff, the content and the skills are exactly the same as what they would get for Fire 1 and 2. At one point, we'd worked with the state, and when a junior completed our junior academy, the state recognized that as a basic firefighter course, and so they would get a certificate from the state saying that they completed the basic firefighter course, and that's just kind of like an intro or a prereq to getting the Fire 1 and 2. We can't get the Fire 1 and 2 cert because that's like 240 hours of academic training, and of course our junior academy is not that long. But the state was recognizing it as a basic firefighter course, and they'd get a certificate from the state of Missouri, the Division of Fire Safety, for that. So that was pretty cool. That stopped a couple years ago because the state was revamping their curriculum for basic firefighter, and they've changed the name of it. It's like Intro to Fire Service now. So maybe with a little tweaking of our curriculum with the junior academy, we could fall in line again, and then our juniors that completed our academy would get the Intro to Fire Service certificate from the state of Missouri.
I know what I was going to ask you.
Oh, good. You thought of it?
I thought, yeah, you guys are heading toward adding another full-time crew.
Correct.
And so is that everything lined out for that now, the board and you guys got everything straightened out, or are there still some variables? Or
we're getting there. Yeah, slowly but surely. Yeah, it's all coming together. A lot of stuff that we're kind of addressing and keying on now is what our responses look like, because we've never had to deal with or contend with having 2 trucks available. So that brought a lot of questions as far as like, well, if we get a call at Walmart, which station goes, or just things like that. So we're figuring that out. We're changing our run cards to reflect, because some things are changing and shifting around internally, like the ladder truck that has historically been over at Station 5. The ladder truck is going to operate out of Station 1. So it kind of changes, and we have to figure out which crew, which trucks are going to respond to a mutual aid call. If St. Clair calls, which truck is coming, because we've never really had to divide those responsibilities. It's just been one truck primarily. So we're going through that and just changing and figuring out what that looks like, or what it's going to look like once we have 2 paid crews. Like I said, it's uncharted territory for the district. We've never been in this situation or place, so it's really exciting to get to map this out.
I was going to say, it's kind of a good problem to have.
It is, yeah. It's a good thing. But things are falling into place. We're getting things ironed out. We're doing this well enough ahead of time that we shouldn't be in crisis mode come December when we're ready to rock and roll. We're putting the hiring requirements together. We've made an announcement for when that window will be. It's going to be like mid-October. We're going to open it up. The application period will open, and then that'll run for 2 weeks, standard advertising time. And then once we get our list of candidates, then we'll run the hiring process with interviews, agility test, all that stuff. That way we have all that lined out, hopefully by mid-November, early December, and we can, identify the candidates that were selected, and that way they are ready to go and be hired like January 1, 2, and 3.
Well, summer vacation season, I guess, started last weekend, and people will be out on the road and everything. I guess you ask them to be careful, right?
Always, yeah. Like I said, it's been kind of slow, and I'm not complaining. But for a holiday weekend, of course, I think it was last year we started doing we started boosting our staffing for the target holiday weekends through the summer, like Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. So we bring on additional staff just because we anticipate a much higher call volume with just the volume of people in the area. Likelihood for calls goes up, so we had extra staffing. And over this past Memorial weekend, we did have the extra staffing, and they barely ran, I think, 4 calls all weekend. I think it was very uneventful, which is good. It's a good problem to have, but I think the weather might have played a hand in that to just kind of keep everything calm and docile. So that was good. But yeah, summer season's up, and once the weather gets nice, I'm sure everyone's active and we'll be outside doing all these activities. But yeah, just use risk management, keep it safe.
All right, Chief, anything else?
Not that I can think of,
Right.
not for today.
Well, thank you for coming in. We'll
Absolutely.
talk to you again next month.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Have a good one.
All right. And that is Chief Eric Lewis from the Sullivan Fire Department.